There's a poet who says this. I love to imagine what a conversation between a caterpillar and a butterfly would be. I actually think these conversations between mentors and me are like that, a conversation with a caterpillar and a butterfly, right? Because that's the cocoon that we now need to get into very often as leaders. And you will find a butterfly. Like, find yourself that butterfly. And that butterfly is not going to tell you that it's going to be okay, like what to do, etc., etc. No, the butterfly is just going to tell you, I went through this process and it's going to be hard, it's going to be transformational, but see what you'll get at the end of it.
Right. Welcome to Open Tales by ATRIOS Dialogues, a space where leaders share not just their victories, but also the struggles that shape them. In this very first conversation, I am joined by Shruthi Iyer, co founder and CEO of FMCH India. She opens up with honesty and courage about vulnerability, burnout, and finding strength in our struggles. This is where we begin the journey of Open Tales. So, today I have the pleasure of meeting and talking with Shruti, who's agreed to speak about her journey unfiltered. Shruti, welcome to this conversation.
Thank you, Santosh. Super excited to do this. Also a little bit nervous, but we shall go with it.
Lovely. So, you would normally get introduced as a co founder, CEO of FMCH. How would you introduce yourself?
Uh, that's a tough question to begin with, because I actually have been thinking a lot about what are the other identities that I hold. So very, very apt. Gosh, this is also setting the tone for the conversation. I think apart from being the CEO of FMCH, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend. I also love to paint, and I'm an aspiring writer. I am somebody who wants to take care of her health. I am somebody who wants to build communities. So these are the other roles that I want to play in my life, apart from being the CEO of FMCH.
Wow. So I would love to get back to your writer's journey during this conversation. I hope you are comfortable sharing your writer's journey as well with us.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had the courage to call myself a writer. Um, I want to be able to write a lot more. You know, I was thinking about this a few days ago. When I was younger, I had so much time to write. I didn't have enough stories, and now I have enough stories, but my courage and time seems to be the challenges. But we'll get there. We'll get there one at a time.
This conversation is about struggles,
Yeah.
is about opening up about your struggles. Usually, we on LinkedIn or other platforms, we post things where we are at our peak. This is difficult. How and why do you think this is relevant for you to come and speak about struggles?
Um, I think we will not experience, and I could say this in the most philosophical and adage-ish way, which is you won't experience your peak until you've experienced struggle. And it's unfortunate that we don't speak about our struggles, because that's when you need more support. You need the world to rally around you at that point a lot more than when you are at your peak. Um, and I don't know why we don't talk more about it. I think it's this culture that we have now built, right? Of being of coming across as somebody who's strong. Struggle takes courage. It takes vulnerability. It takes accepting that you are feeling unseen and you are alone, and that's hard. Yeah, it's hard to first say that to yourself, and then to say it out loud to everybody else is even harder. I guess that's why we never talk about our struggles.
Absolutely. And the importance of talking about struggle,
Yeah.
I feel, is that whenever we go through tough times, we usually feel that we are in it alone. and that we are the ones who are dealing with this suffering. If we know of stories of people who have successfully dealt with it, then we have that anchor to get out of that. Don't you think so?
I completely agree. And I think it's, yeah, fully agree. I think it's important for us to find connection in struggles. Um, I don't think anybody is going to solve it for us. You have to go through this journey yourself. Having somebody around can make it less painful. Having somebody who's gone through this before can make it more meaningful and give you hope that it's going to be okay. And it will be okay. No matter what, it will be okay. We have done this before, we've got this. It will 100% be okay.
Okay. So growing up is an interesting journey because as children we are free, fearless. We do what we want to do. Then over the number of years that we add, we figure what are the right things to do, what are the things that we shouldn't do. Parts of us we need to mask and hide, and that learning reflects in the way we behave as leaders as well. So at times, even when you come to work, you're not what how you feel is not reflecting at how we work. So do you agree with it, what are your thoughts around that?
I think, no, 100%. I feel as over time, especially as a leader, I can speak from my personal experience. Um, I don't think there is, or at least in the last few years, over my leadership journey, I have also subject myself to times when I didn't want to do something. I was feeling lonely. I was feeling unseen, unheard, etc. Um, and I would just shun those feelings away. Um, and I'm realizing that that is not the most healthy thing to do, right? I'm definitely getting better at it. Even just recognizing it has been a challenge for me. So I'm sort of also learning through this process that that is probably not the most healthy way to deal with it. I didn't know any other way, right? So I forgive that part of me which did it, and now I'm learning that it's okay to bring all parts of yourself to your work, even if that means that you are feeling lonely one of these days, you are feeling unheard, and what will it take for you to also share that with somebody on the team? It's not going to be easy. Just the culture that we are in, you expect leaders to have all the answers. Most times leaders don't have the answers. There is this meme that I've seen of this flock of birds that are flying, and the one right in front says, "You guys are following me, I have no idea where I'm going." Sometimes I actually feel that is me, because especially in the work that we do, it's not a straight line. We don't have all the answers. And the pressure that we put on ourselves to have the answers is incredible, right? There's a lot of hope. There's a certain delusion that we all need to have, that the world is going to change, that systems will change, etc. But that's not easy. And it will take its own time, it will take its own course. And how do we deal with the grief and the anger and the pain that comes through this process, right? I think it's not about shutting it all away. And it's about seeing it and saying, I'm holding space for you. As leaders, we're always holding space for everybody else. What will it take to hold space for yourself? And maybe initially that begins with asking for help, coaching, therapy, etc., etc. And over time, you learn how to do it yourself. Right? Over time, you learn what are these coping mechanisms for you. Is it just sitting and meditating? Is it painting? Is it writing? Is it talking to a friend? It could be any one of these things, but I think it evolves. It 100% evolves, and it's something that we've definitely got to do better at. So I know I digress quite a bit, and we definitely I definitely feel that we are not. Uh, I don't think we are in an ecosystem where we can bring our whole selves to work. Um, and there's a certain and there's a reason for it, and it's okay that you don't bring your whole self to work, but can you address that part of yourself, because that's also a part of you? Can you address the rage and the grief and the anger at some point, right, in whatever way and form works for you? So that is something that I am learning to do now.
So when you are narrating these, it feels like it's a lot of personal journey that you have been through as well, from where this converse or what you're sharing emanates. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. It's 100%. I mean, I think I over the last few years, there've been a lot of realizations. I mean, I've been leading organizations for the last decade, almost a decade, right? Two organizations, uh, and it's always a up and down, right? There are always burnouts that happen, there are fellowships that happen, there is low funding that happens, there is this amazing donor that you will find, there are team members who are just fabulous, and then there are team members who just don't align. There are so many things that happen, and I feel like like you said, on LinkedIn, everybody will see these peaks, right? Nobody will see these crusts of like, gosh, this also happened, and this is also a part of this journey. And these parts feel so unseen in each of us. And I think not addressing them is what has led me to burnout multiple times, right? And I think I'm getting better at it. It's like peeling an onion, right? Like you realize after each burnout, oh gosh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. And maybe not shouldn't. I could have done this better, right? And I think just realizing that has also been a part of my journey. And with full humility, just accepting that I don't have my shit together, and I'll figure it out. And we've got this, right? Just being open to saying that there are friends who are very, very supportive. There's family that's very supportive. There are team members that's very supportive. How do you get out of your own head, right, and just ask, right? Ask, even just say. Sometimes people don't have the answers, and a lot of times people want to give gyan, right? But sometimes it's okay. You, out of 10 people who will give you gyan, there'll be one person who will listen to you, and that's the only thing that you need to do. So I guess that's what it is. That's true.
So when you said that you burnt out, was there an indicator at a personal space or workspace which made you pause and reflect,
Yeah.
that this is what happened?
I think for me, there were several leading indicators, and just to use this very theory of change framework, right? Leading and lagging indicators of a burnout. I'll tell you one of these incidences that happened. We were at a team meeting, and one of my colleagues was, like I was telling you before this, one of my colleagues was sharing that she got to know about the organization through my husband, and then she said, I called him to thank him and say, it's so nice working over here, etc. And she asked my husband, how does Shruti always have this energy and so many ideas? And my husband apparently told her that that's the version of Shruti that you see, right? There is this very human version of her that I get to see. This is burnt out, tired person who is with me after 6:30. And she narrated that to the team, and just something just shifted in me right at that point, where I felt it was very unfair. And while he would constantly tell me, I mean, obviously, it's that's also a journey. Relationships are also a journey, but I felt it was unfair that I was giving just leftovers of myself to my friends, family, uh, and people who I deeply love and care about, even to my team, right? I wasn't able to be my full self because I had allowed this identity of being a CEO of this work, of the urgency of the work to fully consume me. And that was not healthy for the work or myself or the team and everybody else, right? And that was one of the things that really shifted. And I think the other indicators were very real, right? Like just physical manifestations, like just felt sick more often, wasn't able to do like a basic trek. I stopped writing, I stopped painting, things that I'd normally love to do. and I'm drowning in work, and I'm actually achieving very, very good results, because that's the thing about our culture, right? Hustle culture, productivity always gives you good results. And we are raising money, etc., etc. But actually, I don't think it was the most healthy way to do it. And I'm not saying that not having done that, I wouldn't be able to achieve all this. I think I would have 100% done everything if I was able to pause and just look at these aspects of my life. I feel I might have been able to even do better.
So in hindsight, of course, you know what you should do, but if and generationally, I think people are getting more smart because they have the right tools, they have the right amount of information, which means you will see younger CEOs, you will see much younger leaders as compared to the traditional people. So when they step into your shoes, or a shoe, or take up a job as a CEO, will they realize it after 6 years, or is it something that the system can offer to stop and just do something better?
Santosh, that's a hard question. Because you're asking me very hard questions. Um, there are two parts to this answer, right? A bit of it was about me also, and where I came from as a child, where there was this need to prove, a need to belong, etc., which drove me to do some of these things. There was a need for validation, and so on, which drove me to do some of these things. And now I feel, and I think we all need to go through that journey, right? To then say whether it was being a banker earlier and then saying and shedding your banker identity. We all need to go through that. And I think I have, and it's layers, it'll happen again. But I needed to go through it to realize that this is what was driving this excess work, etc. I think the newer generation has the vocabulary to recognize it much sooner, and therefore be your true authentic self. What does that really mean? I feel um, there is, so when I went to we've seen this whirling dervish, no, the Khwaja Mere Khwaja song mein, these whirling dervish, they have this, it's beautiful. They actually they dance this way, so they keep one hand like this and the other one this way. They take the blessings of the universe and then they're sort of giving the blessings away. So they're a channel for the blessing. They're in flow, right? A deep meditative state. My aim is to figure out how I can be in those deep meditative states where the work is just flowing through me, right? And there is no ego, there is no, it's not about me. And if the work flows through me, I feel I will be in much lesser spaces of burnout. Wow. Right? And what will it take for me to get there is really be super authentic to myself and say, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for validation? Am I doing this for ego? Am I doing this for another fellowship? Am I doing this for another, whatever, like another big conversation? Or am I doing this because this will serve the communities? And there is no judgment of either or, right? Knowing that you're doing this because it requires validation is a deep need that comes from hurt in your childhood, and maybe the question then to ask is this the right way to go? And if the answer says yes, this is the right way to go for me at this point in time, 100% do it, right? So like I said, right, I don't think I would have changed anything about the way that I had done it. I probably would have worked just as hard. I should have been more open to why I was doing it, right? And now when I'm trying to be more honest and authentic in that way, it completely shifts my energy, right? It totally shifts the way that I am having conversations. I am connecting a lot more. When I first joined the sector, everybody said make connections with people, like connect, right, and get to know people, etc. And I said that's easy for you to say when you're not in a space of crisis. But now when younger founders come and ask me, hey, how do we fundraise? The first thing I tell them is connect. And I'm like, I'm using the exact same words that somebody else told me. But I really know what that means. It is not about it's not a transaction.
It's not transaction.
Right? And how do you explain this till you feel it in your bones, right? And now all I want to genuinely do is connect with people in the ecosystem, whether it is my team members or partners, donors, etc. I think just making networks, making connections, and I think there's just so much power in these connections. You don't know what will come out of it.
Yes,
It's fabulous. So I think I'm in a much better space in that sense. But I had to go through this journey to get here. So will somebody who is just joining, will the ecosystem be kinder on them? I don't know. Maybe things like this, maybe more conversations like these would help. But I think the one thing that I feel ecosystems could offer more is more support to somebody who's going through this journey. Yeah. Right? And whatever that means for that person at that point.
That's fabulous. So you speak of support. Early in this conversation, you did touch upon a coach, a counselor. So what does support look? I mean, what was support for you when you wanted to fix things, or did you try to do it by yourself? What was the journey like for you?
I'm very, very, very privileged to have a beautiful support community that includes people like you in this community, right? Anyone who I can, and the sector is generous. It's from my donors to my other co-founders. I just need to pick up the phone and call somebody and tell them I need to talk, right? And I'm just so grateful to have to be a part of this space that also allows me to do this, right? I meet the kindest people, or even my team members. Some of them, I can just call them and tell them, listen, I think I don't know if we should go down this way, and it could be. We've chosen a path and then we realize that this is not working, and for the entire team to say, you know what, we're right, this is not what we set out to do, let's do something else. Right. It's huge, right? But it is deeply deeply oriented to what the flow is, what you're supposed to be doing, what is the right thing to do. So I think support to me is just that, is just having these people around you, pick up the phone, talk to them. Everybody is going through something very similar, right? And it is just open up that conversation, have the courage, and whatever it is, just be authentic to yourself. Know what is your intention, and I think everything else will just flow from there. And there are some fabulous people in the sector. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
So, you spoke about reaching out. Everybody may not have that courage to reach out. I hope that through these conversations we are able to normalize all of these. But we speak about inclusion as well, and when it is inclusion, it is also making all of these normal, wherein you don't look at it as an extra effort either to reach out or to support. But when it comes to friends and families, and more friends, because at times, we have very good friendship in school, but then we traverse different path, but we still care for that person. We may not have a lot in common, but we still care for that person. And when the person is going through something, you want to reach out to that person, but you don't know what is the right approach. Should I just call that person once, or should I just call that person again? And you feel a bit helpless there. Is there a right approach or a basic approach that anyone can follow just to be there with that person because you genuinely care?
Santosh, I'm not an expert on mental health. I am not an expert friend either. But and I've seen a lot of these Instagram posts. So a lot of my gyan is going to come from Instagram, but I will speak from life experience on as somebody who has gone through a burnout, and as somebody who has supported people with burnout, right? And these are mostly going to be, some of them are people who work on my team, and therefore I have a closer relationship with them. And so I'll first tell you what we've done when we support somebody with burnout or with with other issues like other mental health issues. One thing is to be just very, very open about it. I am very grateful to my team members who were able to come out and say, I think I have anxiety, I have depression, bipolar, whatever else. And it was very mature of them to not just say this, but also come with a list of do's and don'ts. And therefore, this is how I need you to support me. So I lucked out in that way, right? I also have a team which is super inclusive, much, much, much more than me, even. So some of them would also just come out with saying, hey, you know what, she's struggling with this. These are things that we can do. So even things like when you have a deadline of 15th, make sure the deadline is 10th for them so that they have a leeway. Somebody else, and somebody who I deeply, deeply respect, she came and told me, listen, I know I have this issue, but I don't want you to hold a different yardstick for me. Don't separate me. Don't hold excellence any lower. Treat me the same way that you treated me before you know this was happening. I said that is just fabulous. Like that is her excellence, and I am going to respect that. Right? But how do I navigate and support her through this process? That's on me. And so I think it's just being very open. We are all learning. We will all make mistakes, and that's okay. But at least we're all trying to do the best that we can. Just coming from that space has been our approach so far. And personally, for me, how burnout support, like what has happened in my own journey, is one is for me to recognize it myself, for which I just needed time, right? Which is, and this is not, I need time in the evening after 5:30. It's a very different kind of time. It's just time to heal. It's not a weekend thing, right? It is just time away. So I did Vipassana last year, which was very, very helpful. So that was one of the things that I could do. Again, the sector is very great and very generous in the way that it offers its gifts. There's an initiative called as a Cocoon Initiative, which Vishal Talreja, another beautiful human, has been anchoring. So I was a part of that. And just conversations with him have been so anchoring. So just finding mentors like that, right? There's a poet who says this, and they moved on recently. This says, I love to imagine what a conversation between a caterpillar and a butterfly would be. I actually think these conversations between mentors and me are like that, a conversation with a caterpillar and a butterfly, right? Because that's the cocoon that we now need to get into very often as leaders. And you will find a butterfly. Like, find yourself that butterfly, and that butterfly is not going to tell you that it's going to be okay and like what to do, etc., etc. No, the butterfly is just going to tell you, I went through this process, and it's going to be hard, it's going to be transformational, but see what you'll get at the end of it. Right? And I thought that's how a conversation between a butterfly and a caterpillar is going to be. So I think finding your butterfly is going to be important, and knowing that at different points you are going to be a butterfly for somebody, right? You are also playing the role of a butterfly, you are also playing the role of a caterpillar. And how do you constantly be in that give and take, which again goes back to this beautiful networks that we are a part of.
The human connection.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is so important to have. Like, I really want to like emphasize on the importance of human connection, because everybody craves for it. I don't think, I think it should not be transactional. It should not be just give and take. It should just be honest conversation, and as a community to be there, and to authentically to be available when they need you the most. So coming back to what you mentioned, you beautifully, what I picked up is that a couple of your team members were open to come and talk to you. I don't think that would be possible even 10 years back, which means that let's say generation. I don't like using generation as a term because I don't like compartmentalizing people, but let's say a group of people now find comfortable talking about this because there have been conversations. Exactly. So that is fabulous. And organizations also taking positive steps around it. But if you were to leave some thoughts around how an organization should um, operate and create these spaces where people can freely walk and talk about this, what would that be?
Yeah. Santosh, you find the hardest questions. So,
Questions find me.
questions find you. Oh, so you're the whirling dervish. I think what can organizations do to support mental health of folks? Number one, realize that there is very little that you can do and forgive yourself for it. As a leader, that's the first principle that I keep for myself. It's important to, because it's very easy to say that, let's give people 15 days mental health day off. Let's give let's make this more inclusive, etc., etc. Like, you can put all these policies in place which are very, very idealistic, but that also demands a certain level of maturity in the ecosystem. You can't be a single organization doing this, right? An ecosystem needs to come together. For the whatever it is, we are in this fairly capitalistic world, and running an NGO in this sort of a environment is hard, right? So forgiving yourself as a leader, forgiving yourself for whatever you can't do. That's number one. And I think then figuring out what is it that you can do. Whether it is saying, you know what, I can, based on the budget that I have, I can put a sabbatical policy in place. Based on the budget that I have, I can offer mental health support. We can do sessions. How do we build more connections with people? A lot of times, organizations like ours, we can't even afford like a full-time HR, right? And where are we talking about mental health, right? So it's a very it's very easy for all of us to just say any organization should do all of this, but how? Yeah, really. What is an organization? And it's and a friend recently told me this: organizations by default are very scarce entities, right? And networks are the ones that are uh, are abundant. And therefore, how do we build networks within these organizations? The only thing that we could probably do is create space which and allow people to be themselves. Come as you are. Make sure we will listen. We will do the best that we can. Um, but also know that you can be a container only once your bucket is full. So, as leaders, the best service that you can do for your organization is take care of yourself. Yeah. Make sure your bucket is full and be okay with so many things that you can't do. My one of my first bosses, I think I was 24, 25 at that time. He put this, he told me, and I was very flustered. I had gone to field and come back, and I said, no, this is not working, that's not working. And he came back and he said, I'm going to put this big chart, you are not God, behind your desk so that you remember this all the time. And it was very helpful for me to have that pointed out by a mentor at that point, right? And I think that's what it is. You do the best that you can and know that you're doing your best. And we learn.
Cool.
It's
if like the guru mantra has been delivered, that is awesome. And I hope that anybody watching this and wants to do something in this space, I think it, like, the human connection, the collaboration is what is going to take things forward. It may not happen tomorrow, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Let us wait and watch. But the last question, as a writer, what will your next book
I wish I was
titled?
So I've thought about this. It's I do want to write a book at some point, and I think the book, the title is going to be "You're Doing Such Good Work," because anyone that I meet who's not from the sector and hears what I do, they tell me you're doing such good work. But actually, there is so much that I am not doing, and it is so complicated to do this good work. So everybody on the outside feels, "Arey, social sector mein bahut acha kaam ho raha hai," etc. But only I know how messy it is, and it's not any different for a for-profit. I'm operating in the same ecosystem. So that is hopefully the title of the book. Someday.
Bestseller in the not-for-profit space for sure. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Shruti,
Santosh.
for really being part of this conversation, being honest. And there are a lot of takeaways for anybody watching this. So, yeah, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
this.
My
Cool.
pleasure.
Cool. Thank you.